Welcome to the continuation of communication. So we've looked at different services that fall under postal services. So now we're going to focus our attention to the other mode of communication called telecommunication. What is telecommunication? Telecommunication is simply a means of sending and receiving information using electronic means. Okay. So as compared to postal services, this one provides the most direct and immediate means of communication provided by the various telecommunication services such as Zamtel, Airtel, MTN Zambia, etc. Okay, so when we looked at postal services, we looked at different types of these services. So even telecommunication, we're going to do the same. And some of the modes or types of telecommunication as a means of communication in business are telephone, telegram, telex, phonogram, fax, radio message, cellular phone, email, and more. Okay, so we're going to visit these individually. We see what they are and just some features. Okay. Okay, so we start with telephone. We know what a telephone is, so I won't waste time into defining or trying to make you know what a telephone is. Okay. So the telephone provides people engaged in commerce or business with a speedy means of contacting other businesses over any distance, either within the country or abroad. Okay. So by the way, the mobile phone you're using is not the telephone. Okay. The telephone is that one which we call the land phone. Okay. That's what I mean here by telephone. At the end of the day, the function is the same as that of the mobile phone you are using now. Okay, it provides anyone who is involved in business with a speedy means of contacting other businesses over any distance, either within the country or abroad. Think of it in this way when we compare telephone with postal services. Postal services, you have to prepare something, it is sent to the post office sends to the receiver. Okay, so there's time that is involved for all that to be completed. Well, a telephone, you just have to dial the number, then you're in contact with the customer or client. Okay, so that's the key difference. Okay, so a telephone can be used in a number of circumstances. Okay, for example, when a customer wishes to urgently inform his or her suppliers, or when a person wants an immediate response to a query, suggestion, or complaint. Okay, so all these are different circumstances where there is no time, you need information right there and then the telephone comes in. It enables a discussion or conversation to be held to clear a problem or seek advice or orders between the suppliers and their customers. Okay, so if we compare with the postal services, where you have to, you have to send maybe a letter, it reaches the supplier maybe does maybe they have to respond to what you wrote in the letter. Okay, so once the supplier writes, then you have to wait for it to pass through the post office, then it reaches you, so it takes time, days. Okay, so well, a telephone, you can call the supplier, then you start talking, you can ask the products they have, and everything can be sorted right there and then. So these are the advantages that comes with telephone. Next, we look at Telegram. So I think I'm aware there's an app called Telegram. Yep. This is not the Telegram we're talking about here. Okay. This is another means of communication that actually was very active in the old days. Maybe up to now it's still active. Yeah. So it's not the app. Okay. So it is a service that provides business people with speed means of sending agent written messages to most parts of the country or the world. Okay. So there is a machine that is used to send a telegram. Okay. But a telegram is not used for voice calls where you have to call and talk to the person. It's written. Maybe you want to send an invoice, so you can use a telegram so that it reaches the receiver without wasting time. Okay. So the message is telephoned or faxed to the post office nearest to the addressee and then delivered by hand. So what this means is the message you can, if you want, for example, to tell your supplier to send you 2 bottles of Chiwantu. If you are in Chiwantu business, so you want to order Chiwantu, so you want 2 drums of Chiwantu, so to say. So what you do is you can call the post office that is close to the supplier. Then once you inform the post office, they are going to get that message and take it to the supplier. Or you can use a machine called fax machine. So in this fax machine, you send a message, a written message, and that written message will go to the post office. So you direct to the post office, then the post office will get it and take it to the receiver. So that is how Telegram works. Okay, it is not as fast as telephone, but it is fast as compared to other services such as postal services. Okay. So the charge for the telegram is calculated per word. Okay, what this means is if, for example, you write you write a message that has 10 words and another person writes a message that has 20 words, the person who has written a message that has 20 words will pay more as compared to that one who has written a message with 10 words. Okay, so the charge is per word, meaning that unnecessary punctuation marks and statements should be left out in the message. So there's no need to punctuate or to use the type of vocabulary that has lots of words. Okay, you have to make sure that you have summarized the information. You don't use too much words, but you still are able to send a clear message. Okay. Next, we look at telex. Okay. Okay. So telex is also called a teleprinter. Okay. Not a telephone, but a teleprinter. So it's a combination of a typewriter and a telephone for sending written messages. Okay. So it has a telephone, a land phone, with a typewriter where you can type words. Okay, it is used for sending written messages. Okay, so teleprinter has a telex number which is used to connect one teleprinter with another to a telex line. Okay, so just like telephones, they are connected, especially the land phones, they are connected by lines. Okay, and their numbers. For example, if you want to call this supplier, you should have the number of that supplier. So the telex also works in the same way. So each machine has a telex number. Okay, so this telex number is the one you use to connect one teleprinter or one telex to another. Okay, so the main advantage of this system is that messages can be received at any time of the day or night. Okay, so that's the advantage. Okay, so away from the advantages of telex, we look at something that you may be familiar with that was and is still common now, but it became very useful during the time of COVID-19, for those who can still remember, ConfraVision, also called video conferencing. Okay, so this is something that you may be familiar with because even on WhatsApp, you can do a video conference call. Okay, so that is a ConfraVision. Okay, so in short, it is a communication service that links a group of people in distance studio location by sound and vision. So the studio location point here is in business, for you to do this, you need a proper setup. You can't just be doing a video conference call while you are in the street. Okay, so if, for example, I'm sure maybe you have noticed, maybe there is news, okay, BBC News, then they want to talk to someone who is in maybe Africa, so that person is going to appear on the screen, then they start discussing, okay? So it's one studio communicating to another studio, okay? So that is ConfraVision or video conferencing, okay? So it makes people discuss face to face, though in different places, yet able to see each other through camera or screen, okay? So that is basically video conferencing or ConfraVision. So it is a cheaper way of holding meeting by multinational firms. Okay, a multinational firm, remember, it's a firm that is in different countries. So to have a meeting, instead of traveling to one country so that they can have that meeting, they can just do it through video conferencing, okay? So in short, it eliminates costs of traveling abroad for meetings. Next, we'll look at our favorites, Pota, as we call it in Lusaka Nyanja, Pota. I don't know how it's pronounced. Yeah, but it's a cellular phones or a mobile phone, okay? So it is an improved form of an ordinary telephone, okay? So it can be used anywhere if network is there at any time. Most telephones, they are land phones, so they are connected to a specific locality, like maybe they are just in this office, so you can't use it well maybe outside the offices, okay? But for this one, you can use it anywhere, okay? And therefore provides immediate contact. You don't have to say, I'll call you when I reach the office. You can call at any time. So it's immediate contact. It also keeps messages for future reference or voice messages, okay? So if I send you a voice note on WhatsApp, you can open that later. Or if we disagree, we can say, oh, I said this. Let's listen to the voice note, okay? Or messages. I sent you a message, then maybe I said, I want 2 drums of Chibwantu, you as a supplier, you send me 1 drum of Chibwantu. Then I'll be like, no, this text message I sent you stated that I need 2, okay? So this is another advantage or feature that comes with cellular phones. Most of the time, it has internet facilities, okay? Meaning that you can have access to internet banking services and other services, okay? Next, we'll look at an interesting technology called fax or fax mail. So it is an interesting technology because the time when mobile phones were not that rampant, this used to do all the tricks, sending images, sending documents and all, okay? So this service enables a business to send exact copies of a document to distant places using telephone lines, okay? So any document can be sent from one location to another using telephone lines. How that happens is not your concern. You're not engineers, you're not technical students, okay? What you have to know is this fax technology or fax mail works together with telephone lines or uses telephone lines to send information. How does it work? So once the document is sent, the document is reproduced or rather photocopied immediately at the receiving end. So you put that document that you want to be sent in your fax mail, then the receiver is going to the receiver's end as a fax mail as well. Therefore, a photocopy of that document you have sent will come out on their end. So that's how it works. Okay. So the fax mail is plugged into the telephone network and the bills are added to the user's telephone bills. Okay, so the total bill of the usage of the fax machine is put together with the cost of making calls that you do on the telephone. So it comes as one total bill. Okay. It is used for sending urgent documents as quickly as a telephone call. Okay, and it is much faster than letters that are sent through the post office. It can transmit documents, whether printed, typed, handwritten, or drawn plans. Okay, so it can transmit any kind of document. Okay. Now, the main advantage is that it can be received 24 hours a day, even when it is after working hours, for as long as the machine is left on. Okay, unlike telephones, when you call and there's no one's going to answer. Okay, but for a fax, you can, once you send the document, even if there's no one, it will be able to print a photocopy of that document at the receiver's end. Next, we look at electronic mail or email. Okay, so I think most of you have a Gmail account. Okay, that is email or electronic mail. Okay, so it is a service that has many facilities such as the internet. Okay, it allows use of computers through telephone circuits or satellite link or dial-up or just internet. Okay, so you can use computers using internet or these technologies such as telephone circuits, satellite link, or dial-up. Okay, it is very quick. Once you send the message, immediately to be received. Okay, so the subscriber has an email address and uses secret password to maintain information. You all have passwords to your email, right? But I know most of you don't remember your passwords. Yeah, but simply that's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so the feature of an email is you need a password. Okay, so that your information cannot be accessed by anyone. So businesses can use it to rapidly exchange printed communication using telecommunication links. Its greatest advantage over the post and fax is that it is faster and more flexible, and the messages can be as short or as long as you like. Okay, there's no limit to how long the messages can be. So using the email, you can send files, spreadsheets, graphics, photos, databases, and even audio and video files. Okay, so it has all those features, all those capabilities. Okay, so the other advantage of email is that you ought to make a phone call to send the message anywhere in the world. So to end communication, we're going to look at 3 different types of telecommunications, which are quite interesting. In short, we're going to look at the last 3 because we've looked at many already. So we're going to look at the last 3, starting with a radio phone. So a radio phone is also called a Roja Roja in Zambia. Not in comments, but normally we call it a Roja Roja, which are those big phones which are found with security guards, police officers, etc. So these the radio phones provides mobile telephones or mobile telephone. What that means, a mobile telephone, you know, a telephone most of the times it's a hand, it's a land phone. Now a mobile telephone, it's the same big phone which you can move with. Okay, yeah, so the important feature is that they provide mobile telephone which can be handheld. Okay, so you can carry this phone in your hands and move as you are using it. Okay, So that's what a radio phone is. So most of them are installed in cars, trains, etc. Okay. Then there's also another type called radio paging. Okay, when I say beep me or page me, that's also a different form of telecommunication. Okay, so it is, yes, it's a feature that comes with a mobile phone, but it is far much bigger than that. Okay, but in essence, the service it offers is beeping someone or paging someone. Okay, so this service allows the user to send a telephone number or message to another user. Okay, so uh, uh, why would why can't the person just call them? Okay, why would they just need to send a telephone number or a message to another user? It can be, as in the common case, the first user who wants to send a telephone number or message, maybe they don't have talk time, so they cannot call the other user. Okay, so the paging facility allows them to send a telephone number so that maybe the other user can call them back, or a message so that the other user knows that they have to call the person. But it's not always about being called back. It can be an alert. Okay, it can be maybe when if, the people can be told that when you receive this message, you have to come back. Yes, maybe they have been sent in the forest to look for something. So now, in case after some hours there's no progress, then they can be sent the message, then they get back. Okay. Now, instead of using the normal phone, the normal phone process, like a mobile phone where you have to call people and stuff, maybe this one is the cheapest. You just page them, then they all receive a notification, then they come back. Okay, that's the idea of paging. Okay, so it provides a beeper, okay, which warns people of the message, either that they are required to do something. Okay, so it provides a beeper which warns people of the message that they are required to do something. Sorry, this word is not supposed to be here. So it provides a beeper which warns people of the message that they're required to do something, which can be to call the person who has initiated the paging, or maybe to go back like I gave in the example. Okay. So now the messages in radio paging can reach up to 2,200 characters. Okay. So it is common used in shops, factories, offices, and hospitals. Okay. Finally, we look at internet. Internet. Okay. What is internet? So the internet is a global network of computers. A network is things that are connected. So a global network of computers means computers that are connected throughout the world. That's what internet is. When you are on the internet, actually you are connected to some computer somewhere. Okay. So it gives millions of users throughout the world access to the most dynamic form of communication and information. Okay, it is essentially one network, which is the sum of thousands of individual private and public networks interconnected by satellite and cable systems. What does this mean? So what it means is you and I can have our computers connected. Okay, then your computer can be connected to a computer of your friend. Okay, so maybe we can have a team that has computers which are connected. Okay, then maybe there's also another team somewhere who have such a small network. Then these two networks, our network, which is the connection of our computers, and other people's network, which is the connection of computers, can be connected. So we can have private networks, public networks, but all connected. Okay, that's how we get the internet. So the interconnection is maybe through satellites or cable systems. Cable systems, which means one cable is connected to my computer and another cable to another computer. In these terminologies, even a phone is regarded as a computing device. Okay, so it's not just about a laptop as a computer. No, it's a lot of different computing devices which are part of the internet. So it allows people to communicate, interact, to talk to other people, to shop for goods and services, for education and entertainment. For example, you are watching this video using the internet, okay? So the most common users are email. So email mostly uses the internet. Then there's also www, which are websites or World Wide Web, okay? And some news groups. So this marks the end of telecommunication. See you in the next lesson.